Hi, I'm John Batista, partner in Orrick's Emerging Companies Group, here today with Duncan Logan, who's president and founder of RocketSpace, one of the leading incubators in the Bay Area. Duncan started his career at a Swiss bank, ended up being Warburg, as a derivatives trader. Then he started a company in Europe in the CRM business, shortly after founded or joined Message Labs, and was one of the early employees there, helped in their sales and marketing efforts. That company, of course, was sold to Symantec a couple years later. Came to San Francisco, started a company in the real estate space. It was the inspiration we were just talking about for RocketSpace. And now he's launched RocketSpace in 2010. It's rapidly grown to be one of the largest accelerators and incubators in the Bay Area. Thanks for joining us today, Duncan.
Thanks for having me.
Wanted to start by asking, what was your inspiration for RocketSpace?
So I think there's two factors which inspired me. The first one was the company before RocketSpace, which was in the real estate space. We never managed to get that off the ground. And our whole experience of the 2 years in working in that business was we were sat in an office at the back of a big building in total isolation from the rest of the ecosystem, if you like. And we really struggled with that business. And so when I came out of that business, I knew that the next business I wanted to be in a kind of environment, a purpose-built community environment. And that really is the focus around RocketSpace, is what would happen if we could build this really fantastic environment of everyone focused on the same sort of thing. So everyone's in technology. We're looking for the most aspirational best companies out of the valley to put them in one location, with the idea that when you're surrounded by great, inspiring people, you'll do great things.
You've referred to RocketSpace as an accelerator as opposed to an incubator. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think the Bay Area already has some fantastic incubators. Y Combinator, 500 startups, Kick Labs. These are all, at the incubation stage, they're very focused and obviously hugely successful. At the other end of that spectrum, there's co-working, which is really a real estate business, which is obviously growing very quickly at the moment. We deliberately positioned ourselves in the space between the two. So we look for companies post-incubator or post-incubation who are already set up and they know what the business is. I think incubators do a great job at helping companies establish what their business is and the best way to market and how to put those companies together. We're not in that space. We're trying to take companies who know what they want to do and know what they're trying to do, and we're just trying to accelerate that growth. So what they're looking to do in their first 3 years, we're trying to consolidate that to help them do that.
What are some of the things that you do to help them in the acceleration process?
So there's a number of things, and we're still adding these programs on. A lot of them, we have about one company a week closing an A round in RocketSpace. So we have while every company has to be at least seed funded to get in, a lot of their high priorities once they're in there is to raise their next round. And working with law firms, with the venture capital community, we find ourselves in a really good position to say this VC would be more interested in your sort of company rather than that one, or so forth. The other part is getting customers and revenue. So we work a lot with, we have a program called the Ambassador Program, where we're working with large blue chip corporations from all around the world who are really interested in these innovators. And I think corporations have now moved to this model of what I call open innovation. They're no longer trying to build everything themselves behind closed doors. What they're seeing is that startups can innovate far quicker, far cheaper, and often, without any barriers or boundaries imposed on them. So, yeah, we do a lot of corporate introductions where we're constantly bringing in corporates to meet the startups. Another service we're just starting is going to be around talent. Trying to attract some of the best talent from around the world to come and join these startups, because it's obviously a key component of their business.
How many companies do you have in the accelerator now, and where do you envision things going over the next 2 to 3 years?
I think we're at 126 or 127 at the moment, physically located in RocketSpace. So it's about 500 people or so. If you include our alumni, we've had, one of the things that surprised us in some regards is we've had far greater churn than we thought. So within 14 months, we've already had 35 to 40 companies come into RocketSpace and move out. And some of them are fantastic companies like Uber or Zarly or Zappos. And that's because we have this restriction of 30 people. And when you chase the best companies and they're raising pretty big money, they grow very quickly. So we've got this constant churn going on. I think within the Valley, it really comes down to the quality of the companies. So, I think there's probably 150 to 250 companies, great companies in the Valley at any one time at our sort of stage, and we'd love to have all of them in RocketSpace.
Terrific. What are some of the criteria that you look at in evaluating companies as you become more and more successful? I imagine you have to exercise more of a filtering process over which companies you'll admit to the system.
Yeah, it's we get about 3 applications a day from companies wanting to come into RocketSpace, and again, we're not the geniuses of people looking at the people in a PowerPoint and saying this is going to be a great company. Because we're later stage, we actually refer to previous investors. So when a company comes to us and they've already raised a seed round through some great venture capitalists or some great angels, that makes our job a lot easier because we can just really defer to, if these sort of people are investing in this company, then we can take that quality criteria. If that's not the case, we then look at the founders and what have they done in their past and so forth. And then also the business plan. But I'd say what the business is doing or the traction it's getting is probably third to who's already qualified that company.
What are some of the challenges that you're confronting now?
Well, the challenges for us is really like any business. When your company grows very quickly, there are different sort of challenges, and often they're good challenges to have. But just identifying our long-term strategy. Early on we had this vision to put RocketSpace in many cities around the world. And then when we actually looked at the investment market and where all the investment dollars were done, it's obviously still very focused around Silicon Valley. So I think we've maybe pulled back on those expansion strategies to do more within the Valley. We're riding this wave of huge innovation and growth here in the Valley at the moment. We need to make sure that we're a long-term viable proposition that, when the companies, when there's not so many new companies coming to the market, that we're still in a very strong position.
That's terrific. Well, thanks, Duncan, for speaking with us today, and best of luck with RocketSpace. RocketSpace is riding the wave as many companies and other service providers such as Orrick are in helping these companies in Silicon Valley as they expand and tackle the world's market. So appreciate you speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.